Hi everyone, it's Chris Hitchell again, coming at y'all with another movie review. And today I'm going to be reviewing Wonder Woman, the new highly anticipated installment in the DC Extended Universe. Now, much has been made in the past year or so about the critical reception of the DCEU films. They've been criticized, particularly last year, Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad just got panned by critics and really divisive amongst fans. You can count me in as one of the critics of the DCEU films. I don't think they're god-awful or anything like that, but I do think that they are really, really flawed movies, and just something about them, a lot of those flaws just keep me from sinking my teeth into them like I do the Marvel Cinematic Universe films. But there's been a lot of hype for Wonder Woman, and from the trailers and everything that I've seen, I was really looking forward to it also. And rest assured, the hype is real. Wonder Woman absolutely delivers. It is a home run hit for the DC Extended Universe. Just basic plot of the film, as we saw, follows Wonder Woman, who we saw in last year's Batman vs. Superman. And this film is sort of a flashback to her past of how she became Wonder Woman, and that happened as she got into a conflict during World War I. And the film centers on her sort of discovering herself and why she fights for the people and what she actually believes in. And this movie is really just on point with everything that it's trying to do when it comes to the action, the humor, and the character development for Diana, which is probably the most important and probably best part of the film, is seeing how she turns into who she is, or the Wonder Woman that we saw in Batman vs. Superman, and sort of what are her ethics and what she believes in. And it's really great development for her in this movie. But also, almost as important as the character development probably is the performances from the lead actors, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and new character Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine. Gal Gadot, I mean, she showed in Batman vs. Superman that she's up for the task of being Wonder Woman, and she's definitely on point in this movie, giving a really powerful performance. She's a great leader in this movie, very charismatic, and I really enjoyed her as Wonder Woman. And I really love that they had Chris Pine in this movie, man. Chris Pine is just such a great leading man, and he really brought a lot of charisma to this role, and he and Gal Gadot had great chemistry. So those were two great leads in this movie. And you really just got to give it up to Patty Jenkins, man, of how well this movie was directed for most of it, I'll say. What's amazing is that before this movie in 2017, her previous film, Monster, I believe is what it was called, came out in 2003. So it's just amazing that they gave her, control of this movie, such an important installment in the DCEU, when her previous film was 2003. But credit to her, man, because she absolutely knew what she was doing with this movie. And it is well directed, and she did a great job on really almost all the components of this movie. So for about 4/5 of this movie, it was an absolute home run, man. I'm talking about like a 9.5 out of 10, maybe a 9, but definitely a film I would call great, and something that I was absolutely loving through most of it. I was amazed by this movie. But I say 4/5 because this movie absolutely kind of stumbles across the finish line when it comes to probably the final 25 minutes or so, when the big major conflict comes in. To me, it's what I would call a Snyder-esque shit show, as in Zack Snyder. Not to take a dump on Snyder and what he's going through personally at all, because obviously, if you've seen the news with him recently, he's going through a major tragedy. This is just talking about him as a director. But a lot of the flaws that came in the movie's final 25 minutes or so felt like the same flaws that you see in a lot of Zack Snyder movies, which was over-reliance on visual effects and just too much style and not enough substance in that final battle. Because the final battle in this film, involving Wonder Woman and the main antagonist of the film, was really just a big light show, and it just went on for so goddamn long, and there was just really almost nothing to it. It's really just a bunch of special effects banging into each other. And the reason why that doesn't work is because, look, I'm a fan of the Transformers film series, so obviously I can get enjoyment out of dumb special effects. But the reason why I think it's okay in those films is because those films aren't really trying to be smart And really, their whole gimmick is giving you dumb special effects. Whereas in this movie, it was just such a smart, intelligent, well-made movie. But then you get to the final 25 minutes and the movie just sort of loses itself. And you're just thinking, what the hell happened to this movie? And it was just really disappointing to see. And besides from it just being a big light show, it just went on for too damn long. This was a movie that needed to be trimmed down by about 20 minutes. So that final confrontation of the movie was just a down point of the movie. Um, Another flaw that I saw was that the villains of the movie, one of them is played by Danny Houston. He plays sort of a German colonel or something like that. I don't know what the character's name was. And another one was female, someone named Dr. Poison. And those two characters were really just not developed all that well. They were just sort of nothing villains. They had sort of really weird moments in the movie. Like Danny Houston's character, he has something where he gets like snorts some coke and he turns into he gets a white face and can get like super strong. That was a weird gimmick to him. I thought Dr. Poison could have been interesting, but she was really nothing of a villain. And that's sort of the same problem that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has a lot of the times, that the villains weren't poorly directed. But the reason why that's not such a bad thing is because the movie's called Wonder Woman, and it absolutely delivers on Wonder Woman. Just a great character, great character development for her, and the action scenes involving Woman were terrific. I mean, the highlight of the movie for me was seeing her. You see in the trailer her going on the front line in no man's land during the war. That whole sequence was just fantastic, and that's the sort of stuff that I'm going to choose to remember instead of just how poorly done that final 25 minutes was. So I'm going to give Wonder Woman my score. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10, which, as I said, man, I was at like a 9.5 or 9 through 4/5 of the movie. But because that ending it's got to get dropped down to an 8, but definitely a movie I really, really enjoyed, and easily the best DCEU film by far, which I don't think like I said, I don't think their films have been god awful, but they have been really, really, really flawed. But this movie definitely is, I would say, a home run hit for them, man. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And one thing about it is that this is probably the most important film of the year. Just because of what it means to the DCEU films and getting sort of the goodwill of the public back. And also the fact that it's the first in this new age of superhero films, like anything post, like say 2008, the first female-driven superhero film. So that makes it really important. And also the fact that it's directed by a woman director, which shouldn't really matter, but in the politics of today, it does matter that females given this big a budget to make a movie. But Miss Patty Jenkins did a fantastic job directing this movie, and just great job by everyone all around in making a really, really good superhero film. In terms of does it give me hope for Justice League? Not really, because as I said before, a lot of the problems with this movie were, like I said, the major problems that last like 25 minutes. Those were sort of Zack Snyder problems, and obviously Zack Snyder is still the one mostly responsible for Justice League. And again, not to take a dump on him while he's down, but he's probably the main reason I haven't enjoyed their film some more. But if Justice League can be just a fun movie that I can say, hey, you know what, I had a lot of fun watching that, then that's a big win for me right there. But anyway, those are my thoughts on Wonder Woman. I hope y'all enjoyed this review, and I'll see y'all around with another vid.